So I saw this interesting recipe on TikTok. I'm gonna call it Slam Bam because literally it was Slam Bam. It was so fast, and these are all of the ingredients that you're gonna need. So it was a sardine pasta dish, some sort. I enjoy sardines. I'll eat them straight out the can, sardines and grits, sardines and rice, whatever. I enjoy them a lot, but you are going to need a few cans of sardines. Very important, the sardines have to be in oil, some type of oil. We got soybean oil sardines. You are going to need you a can of tomato sauce. Tomato sauce, try not to get tomato sauce like spaghetti tomato sauce. Try to get something that's a little bit more like this one is Spanish style tomato sauce. So get something like that. You are going to need also a large bell pepper, a large onion, as well as some parsley. You're going to need some cherry tomatoes as well as some basic seasonings. I don't know exactly what was used because it was not a complete recipe, but we are going to use some garlic powder, onion powder. They also use bouillon. I'm probably sure it was probably a chicken bouillon or a beef bouillon, but we're going to use some shrimp bouillon to pair with the sardines, some complete seasoning as well as some black pepper, and of course some noodles because this is a pasta dish. This is what we are going to need. It looked delicious. Y'all hurry up and go get y'all stuff so we can try this together. And yeah, so we are going to go ahead and prep our vegetables so that we can head to the stove. So I did see this recipe on TikTok. I'm not sure what it was or what, I think it's a Brazilian dish because if I'm not mistaken, she was speaking or it was, the comments was in Portuguese. So yeah, we're just gonna rough chop these onions as well as that bell pepper and we're gonna see what this is about. Gma, thank you. I love my knives. All right, now rough chop your parsley. Rough chop you some cherry tomatoes. Okay, so very important. What I saw was the actual oil from the sardines. She poured it into the frying pan, and that is what she fried her veggies in. So I am going to separate the oil from my sardines. And then once we get them all open, oh, these are tiny. Okay, now what I would usually do if these sardines were any bigger than what they are, I would take the bones out of them. They are so small. If you keep a bone or two in there, you're definitely not going to not going to taste it because they're so small. And well, yes. So we're going to continue to open up these cans and separate the oil from the sardine. So this right here is the soybean oil that we drew from, or we took out of the cans of sardines. These are the sardines. They are very, very tiny. Depending on how much or how little it is that you want, I guess you just have at it. But yeah, you're gonna eventually go in and kind of like break them apart so that it becomes like the meat for your pasta. So, I forgot to mention, you do need some garlic. I'm assuming that's what it is that I saw what she threw in with the vegetables, but we're gonna use it anyway, just in case, just in case. Oy. So I already got my water boiling, so that's already going. Please salt your water. That's why them children don't want to eat your spaghetti. Salt your water. All right, so to this pot, I am going to add our soybean oil. It's hot. We're gonna let that catch some temperature before I add my vegetables because I want to start the cooking process without it actually boiling the vegetables. Okay, so I have my oil up to temperature. There's nothing besides the oil from the sardines in here. I am going to add my onion and bell pepper. And we are going to cook this down. I am going to season my vegetables before I actually add that those sardines back in. Now, I'm also noticing there is a little bit of, I'm going to call it water. Besides the oil, I want that to cook all the way out until the only thing I have left in this pot is just that straight soybean oil. All right, so we got some action on these vegetables. All right, you see how it still does not look like oil. It still looks like some type of water in there. So I am going to continue to cook this down until we eliminate that. But while this is cooking, I'm just going to go ahead and start adding my seasonings as well as my garlic. Now I'm going to add me some garlic. This is ajo molido. So this is grounded grounded garlic. We're going to get a couple heaping teaspoons of this garlic. Now let's go a little bit more. Let's do 3. Going to season with some complete seasoning. Some garlic powder. As much as your heart desires. Some onion powder. As well as my shrimp bouillon. Ooh. Let's go with about that much. That's probably about 1 cube. We're going to give this a stir. And I am going to wait until I see the oil and none of that watery looking stuff before I add that can of tomato sauce. If you see here, you can see where the oil is now very present. We don't have that liquidy looking situation going on there. I'm going to go in with some black pepper. About that much. And I am going to also put in my can of salsa de tomate tomato sauce. And we are going to let this cook down. Okay? We are cooked down. Now, this does look like a lot of oil. Hers looked just like it. It also had a lot of oil. So looking at it, it gave me the impression of like olive oil noodles. So I'm assuming that this is going to dress the noodles, obviously, and it's not going to be as oily as this looks. So at this point, we're going to get ready to add our sardines. Add that in. Smells good. At this point, it's smelling pretty good. Like I said, we're following. I'm doing as I saw, and hopefully y'all going along with me. We're gonna add our tomatoes and our parsley last. At this point, once you have it stirred up good and well incorporated, we're gonna taste it and we're gonna see if it needs anything. I turned the stove down to probably about 2. I did taste it. We do need a little bit of salt. I'm gonna use some black truffle sea salt to try to give it, just wake it up just a little bit. And give this a little stir as well. Okay, so I said we got the stove on 2 because I don't need this to burn. Now at this point, I am going to add my tomatoes. That was 1 whole container of cherry tomatoes. And we have us a bunch of parsley without the stems. So I cut all the stems first and all we kept was the leaf. We're gonna add that here. It's looking good already. Okay, so the reason why I haven't put my noodles on to boil yet, because they're only gonna take about 8 minutes, and I just want this to kind of hang out a little bit before I actually mix my noodles in. So we're just gonna let this simmer on about 2 while those noodles cook. All right, so I have a pound of linguine noodles. Y'all don't come for me. I am going to break my noodles in half, so please save it. It looks right. It looks like it's supposed to look according to the video. So I have my noodles have already been drained. So I'm going to transfer my sardines into my pasta. And let's give it a mix. I can tell you one thing, it smells really good. I was a little skeptical, but I am clearly a believer at this point. This is the worst thing to stir with. I was also a little concerned about the oil that had settled on the top of the sardines, but that oil has covered the noodles very nicely. So it does give the kind of like olive oil noodle type situation with this dish. So here goes our slam bam sardines and noodles. Oh, this looks so good. I am, if this tastes half as good as this looks, we in the money. Let me twist some of these noodles so I can get me a nice bit. Yes. Just look at that. Of course, got to have some of that Parmigiano. That wasn't a part of it. I just felt like adding that. And now for the taste. It's hot. Wow. Wow. This is so good. Let me tell you something. If money looking funny and you want some seafood pasta, get you a can of sardines, get you a can of mussels, get you a can of oysters, get you whatever it is that you can find in a can that is seafood related. And instead of using all sardines, use those different seafood items, and you would have you some seafood pasta. And another thing, all of this came to $19.97. So this dish was under $20, and it tastes like it took more effort and more money than what it did. I like that. I like that a lot. So, I want some more information on this. Is this a Brazilian dish or is this a slam bam? Let me know. Drop that in the comments. If you are familiar with this dish, let me know. Drop that in the comments. I am very, very curious and interested to know. So with that being said, Yoke Gang, what did y'all think? What did you see? How did you feel? Don't lie. In the beginning, y'all was like, yo, I don't know what it is you're doing. But at this point, the way that this looks and it tastes, chef's kiss. So with that being said, thank you. Thank you so much for supporting the channel just by watching this video. I love me some good food. This is some darn good pasta, but I love y'all for life. Muchos besitos.